Hey YouTube friends, it is rainy and overcast and very wintry here in Southeast Queensland today. And I thought that is an absolutely perfect opportunity to film a plenty winter update video for you guys. It has been ages since I filmed one for you, so I'm really looking forward to this one. I've got a candle burning behind us to make the most of the cozy weather. I've got my very favourite oversized jumper on, got a nice warm cup of chai, and I can't wait to share all the wintry things that have been happening with my plant collection with you. You would think being winter that I wouldn't have a lot to talk about, and I was a little worried when I first thought about doing this video, but the more I've thought about it, I've actually got quite a few things happening, so much so I'm going to have to prioritize. I've got some plants that are in bloom, which is just absolutely amazing for winter. How lucky are we to have some plants that are flowering. Got some new finds from Plant Club, got quite a few new little propagations that I've got from Plant Club, and I thought we'll talk about my favorite plants for winter, the ones that are making me smile. Plants that are in triage at the moment, so either going into or coming out of triage, so ones that are having a bit of a moment, not going so well, and then any failures that I might have had for winter. Happy to say I haven't had too many of those, although there have been quite a few with regards to plant accessories. Clumsy has well and truly been on fire in the last few weeks, and it's been quite hard not to get frustrated with myself. I'll share some of those oops moments with you as well. And if you're new here, hey, I'm Mel. A few years ago, I was a total plant parent tragic. My compost bin was just overflowing with my failures. But today, I'm a proud plant mum to over 150 plants, most of them healthy. I'm no expert. At the end of the day, I'm just a crazy plant lady who loves talking about plants. And if you enjoy this video and find it helpful, I'd really appreciate you subscribing to this channel and joining this little planty corner of the internet. I'm on a mission to reach my first 100 subscribers and let the YouTube universe know that I'm here so that I might be able to share more of my tips and tricks with other plant parents who might appreciate them as well. So whether you're new or returning, thank you so much for spending time with me. Grab a warm drink, get comfy, and let's nerd out over plants together. I'm so excited for today's video. Just had to shut the door because there's actually some sirens around, and I'm hoping that by shutting the door and window you can't hear them too much. They won't be too distracting. Let's hope that my microphone does a good job. If we're going to start with plants that are making me smile in winter, let's start with the ones that are flowering, because what a bonus to have plants that are flowering in winter. And for anyone that's been with me a little while, you might remember I got myself this beautiful frizzle sizzle plant in, I think it was the Boxing Day sales. And I showed you guys a few videos ago where I had it sitting. It wasn't quite getting enough sun, and so a lot of its leaves have gone straight. But since I've moved it to behind me up on that shelf, I've turned the grow light off for the video because it's distracting for you guys in the video, but it's sitting quite close to a grow light. We're actually starting to get the curls back, which is really, really exciting. Look at this one. It's obviously much happier with me where I've moved it. So slowly, all of those straight leaves are starting to go curly. So that's super exciting. And last week, and I'll make sure Editing Mel put some photos up here for you because the flowers are almost finished, but it started flowering for me. Look at that. For anyone who's watched me for a while, you know I love plants that are a bit different and interesting. And as soon as I saw it, I thought I need to have one of those. So it was one of my wish list plants. And when I read about it, when I did some research, it actually did say that winter is its season. So it's sort of the opposite to most of our other plants that thrive in the growing seasons of summer and spring. This guy thrives in winter. So it was really lovely to see those flowers pop up. And also lovely to see that it's starting to get its curls back. So I'm pretty confident that it's happy sitting up on the shelf up there. The only thing I'm feeling a little bit nervous, not sure exactly when to do it. It's probably the only plant that I have at the moment that's still in its original nursery soil. So see, I was really happy with the soil. See, it's got lots of nice bark and some perlite through it. It didn't look too dense. So over the next few months, I will actually change it into my chunky mix. So being a succulent type plant, I won't put it in self-watering. I will just put it in my DIY chunky mix. But for now, I'm not going to change it. It's going really, really well where it is. It's definitely a plant that makes me smile every day at the moment in winter. I was just so excited to see those flowers come up. Oh my goodness, I'm so conscious. I don't often burn candles. I just adore candles. I absolutely love the atmosphere that they create. Many years ago, I did actually knock one over and set our tablecloth on fire. So I'm so conscious that I've got one burning for you guys. The reason that I've got this burning is I saw it and came up. I think it was $19. But see the base? It's pedestal style, which you guys know I'm loving at the moment. But I thought when the candle's finished, it's going to make a beautiful base for one of my self-watering pots. So I think it's going to be a great excuse to get a few more of these. A really nice excuse to have a candle going But ADHD brain and all, I am a little bit conscious not to knock this over. It was many, many years ago that I did it, but it was pretty scary, and it was lucky that my husband was right there when it happened, so we're able to put the fire out really quickly. This is 2 propagations in one, actually, that I got from, not the last one, the one prior to that, Plant Club Catch Up. So this one, my plant app was able to identify. So apparently this is the begonia jive. When it grows up, apparently it gets black around the leaves. I'll make sure I put some pictures up here for you. It gets black around the leaves, and it actually gets some black spots on it as well. And it is the one that is flowering. So I've only had it for 4 or 5 weeks. Just so nice. I was so excited when the flowers popped up. It came up around the same time that the frizzle sizzle started popping up as well. And as you do, I'm like, is that flowers? Is it going to flower? That looks a bit different to a leaf. And sure enough, they both popped up the flowers. And then this second begonia, also from Plant Club, they were just left over. I try really hard not to be the first person to dive in and grab any plants that people bring for plant swap. So these were both left over, which I was so excited about. This begonia, my plant app, is actually having a little bit of trouble identifying. So if you guys know what it is, I thought I'll wait till it matures. See the colour underneath? Some beautiful sort of reddish orange colour underneath. So I thought once it matures a bit, I'll try my plant app again and see if it can ID it. But I've just put them in together. They're in my semi-hydro setup, and just going really, really well. I've got them sitting here as well. So I've got them sitting down on the dryer. So they're getting humidity from the dryer. And so their grow lights sort of there. They're not getting as harsher light from the grow light, but they're still getting a good amount, and they seem to be going so well. I feel so lucky that these were left over from our second last, what would that have made it? July, from the July Plant Club. So beautiful. I can't wait till this gets some of the black. I'm thinking if it matures quick enough for October, I'm thinking it'll be a fantastic addition to my Halloween plants. So cool. And the next plant that's flowering is also another begonia from Plant Club. So this is my very first cane begonia. I am so excited. Oh my goodness, guys. I've been wanting a cane begonia for so long. My sister's actually got a similar one. So my plant app, what do they call it? Generic spotted angel wing begonia. I look forward to it getting a little bit bigger and maybe trying again with the app to get a more specific name. It's not quite as spotty as my sister's. So see, it's got dots on the leaves. It's a bit hard. I've got this in cinematic mode. The dots are there, but they're not as pronounced as some of the others that I've seen. I'm wondering, as this matures, are the dots going to get more noticeable? Or is it just a variety that doesn't have as many? Or maybe did the person from Plant Club maybe not have it in as much light? I'm not sure. But I'm really, really excited to see how it grows. The lady had it in soil, which straight away I've just put it into, so you can see it's got a little bit of soil left. We're still rinsing the soil off, but I've just put it into water, and it started flowering. So I'll just continue leaving it in water, and over the next few weeks that soil will all come off the roots as well. My first ever cane begonia, and I didn't have to get a cutting from my sister's. I still will, because hers does look different to this. I can't remember. I'm having a blank. I can't quite remember the specific species of hers. Hers is slightly different to this one. Just happy to have one in my collection, and just so grateful that it's chosen to flower in winter for me as well. I had heard that cane begonias do okay in water, so I'll keep growing this in water for a while, because as you guys know, I love the aesthetic of plants in water. So the next 2 plants that we're talking about look really similar, but this one's an epipremnum, and it is coming out of rehab, so out of triage. And this is a syngonium. This is my syngonium fantasy, and it is going into triage. Well, not triage because it's sick, but triage because it started reverting on me, and the whole reason that I love the fantasy is these beautiful colours, and it was losing some of those colours. So I guess I'm holding the fantasy, so let's go with that. Hopefully I've still got the Plant Club photo for you guys. I let it grow long and revert for Plant Club because I wanted to show the guys, some of them hadn't seen a plant reverting before. So I let it get quite long. Let me just get the bits of the plant right. Yeah, so this was the OG, so I guess the bottom cut of the plant, the very original part of the plant for this colour. So I bought it online. I didn't actually get to choose it from a nursery. It came with okay variegation, not as good as some of the fantasies that I've seen. I've not long changed it from the 100% fine mab grow over to my chunky self-watering setup. It's been very healthy, but what I've read about the Syngonium fantasies is unfortunately there are the 2 different types of variegations, and this does have the more unstable variegation. So it's got the genetics where the variegated and the non-variegated grow side by side and are hence more likely to revert. And so what started happening as it grew longer, so I'm just trying to work out which was, okay, so yeah, this was the middle piece. So that was the original piece, and then these are the next bit of the vine. That's the middle section. Love that one, that is so pretty. But then these were the last leaves that came out. Look at those. Barely any colour in those at all. I've got a bit of dust on them from the mab grow. I better clean that off. So the original was growing well. I've kept that in my chunky mix, my semi-hydro chunky mix, and this grows in our ensuite underneath my Soltec grow light. So I'm going to keep this bit growing as it is, and then hopefully as it shoots out more new growth, it will continue to be coloured. And then the middle and the bottom, the very newest bits, I've put in water. It's already getting some roots. This one may just be completely reverted, and I'm not sure if it's going to come back, but I'm hoping this bit, this middle bit, will actually continue growing for me and pushing out. Look at that. That's the sort of leaf that made me fall in love with the fantasy. So worst case, I'm hoping my OG plant and this middle bit will continue being coloured, and then I'll just see what happens. By all accounts, Google tells me that by cutting the reverted bit off as new growth happens, it should go back to being variegated. And Google also told me that the reason that plants often revert is it's their stress response, it's their survival response, because of course more variegation means less chlorophyll and then less photosynthesis. So if a plant is a little bit stressed, then it is just a higher chance that it's going to revert and go back to your all green leaf, which is easier for its survival. When I very first started experimenting with semi-hydro, I bought the lightweight pond, which ended up being quite dense. Some of my plants were actually getting root rot from it. It condensed down too much after it had been in the pot for a while, which is why I've gone to the thicker, the more chunkier pond mud grow, and I'm mixing it in with my chunky mix as well. And that seems to be much better. It's not compressing as much, but it's letting more air through the roots. I'm not getting that root rot problem that I was with the lightweight mud grow. So I'm thinking potentially, because this was one of my last plants in that mud grow, it might have felt a little bit suffocated. I guess these leaves definitely did pop out while it was in that. So it'll be interesting to see what the new leaves do now that they're in water and my chunky semi-hydro. So heading into triage, we'll keep an eye on it and we'll see how it goes. And now a plant that is coming out of triage. Oh goodness, this is actually in the mab grow that I was just talking about. So this is really fine. And down the bottom, I don't know if you can see on camera, it gets quite dense. And I have had a little bit of root rot problems with it. Not terrible, because I can get it early. It's in the clear pots, but plants just aren't as happy than if I add a few more chunkier elements to it. I haven't thrown any of this out. I've just been mixing it through my chunky mix, and my plants seem to be much, much happier. I'm really glad that I was able to show you guys that. But anyway, this epipremnum, it has been in triage since I got it back in November, late November. What happened with it? So this is the famous plant that went to lunch with me. There were two plants I got on that day. I got this guy and I got a syngonium. And the reason that I got the plants is I went to my favorite nursery. They have beautiful Christmas things there. And I was actually getting a gift for a person one of my family members that I was having lunch with. Walked into the Christmas section, and this epipremnum and also a syngonium, a really unusual syngonium, caught my eye. But here in summer, it can get over 30 degrees. I can't remember. On the day, I think it was about 33 or 34 degrees Celsius. So you can imagine how hot cars get. So there was no way I was leaving my beautiful new baby plants in the car. I actually put them in my handbag and took them to lunch with me and had them like popping out of my handbag like you would a puppy, I guess. And my sister was absolutely horrified. She's like, oh my goodness, you are genuinely the crazy plant lady. You are literally bringing plants to lunch. And I said, well, I'm not leaving my new plants in a hot car just to shrivel away. Everyone else that I was having lunch with just thought it was hilarious. My sister was just like, for goodness sake, please at least put your bag under the table so that no one else can see them, whereas everyone else was like, use them as a centerpiece. So whenever I think of this epipremnum, I always smile at my sister's response. But anyway, long story short, this came with root rot. So this was before I was using semi-hydro. I just kept it in its nursery pot and put it in a bright filtered light location. And within a week, the whole thing flopped like it would look if it didn't have enough water. And the leaves were just really thin. And I thought, that's really strange. I couldn't see any pests on it. So I pulled it out of the soil, and sure enough, all the roots were root rotted. It was pretty sick. So I thought I'll hedge my bets, as I do. I put one in my chunky mix because I wasn't using semi-hydro at that stage, and I put one in water. And then within a few weeks, both plants in completely different rooms in different growing mediums got a fungus, some sort of brown spot fungus. So I cut all of the leaves off both plants. And pretty much ever since then, they've both been in recovery. They've got brown spot a few times. I keep cutting the leaves off. I keep spraying them with my neem oil spray. And finally, touch wood, I feel like we've come out the other side. They're both getting some beautiful leaves on them. I'm not seeing the brown spots. I feel like I can finally say that these guys are just in my normal care now. They're out of triage after a very, very long time. So that feels really nice. So the only thing left to do now that this plant has actually turned the corner, I will actually change it over into the more chunky self-watering setup. But I don't need to rush because it is looking really healthy. So yay! We've made it out of triage after, goodness, what month are we? So November, we're in August, 9 months. 9 months in triage for this guy. I wasn't sure. There were a few times where I thought I was going to lose both plants. Next up, we have a plant that I hope is not going into triage. I hope that my research is right and all my YouTubing and all my Googling is right, and that this is just an old leaf and it's just coming to the end of its life. I can't see any pests, although this is a new plant. I've only had it for a few months. I did move into the chunky mix to avoid overwatering. It's using the water. I'm having to top this up almost about once a week at the moment. The new leaf that came is healthy and it seems beautiful. It had an old leaf on it when I very first got it, and when I repotted it into the semi-hydro self-watering, it went similar to this, and I cut it off, which I thought was normal because it was actually old even when it arrived. This was the OG leaf then, the main OG leaf. So I'm hoping, guys, alocasias I very much have my L plates on with. Apart from elephant ears, this is the only other alocasia that I own. But I'm watching this, it's on my watch list, but it's not in triage because I'm hoping it's just an old leaf. And I'm watching the soil like crazy because from what everyone says with the alocasias is that as one old leaf dies off, often a new one will pop up. I can't see anything at the moment, but I'm just hoping that it's just part of the cycle, and very soon I'm going to see a new beautiful leaf pop up here. Fingers crossed. I'll let you guys know in the next update video, but that one, look at the colors. They're just so beautiful. I'm not an alocasia girl, but this particular plant did catch my eye, and I'm really, really glad that I got it. So watch this space. Another plant that I think that we can say is out of triage is my, oh my goodness, absolutely every time I go to say this name to you guys, I call it the firecracker plant. It is not. It is a spider plant. It is not the firecracker spider plant, and I'm having a complete blank. I'll put the name up here for you. It's got something to do with fire. And it must have heard me because if anyone watched my last purge video, I said this plant was on its last run with me because it wasn't making me smile. It was my very first plant that I ever bought that had any color in it whatsoever. I've had it for a long, long time, quite a few years. It's always been quite faded. The leaves have always got dry bits on the end. They still do have dry bits, but nothing like they used to. And when I think about it, my normal spider plants always have little dry ends on them that I just cut off. So I think that's just probably part of the genus. So I'm happy with that, just having to cut those little tips off the end. But it was getting the black all around the edges. And this orange that you can now see, I'm trying to keep it without the water. Look at the new colors that have come through. When I told it was on its last chance, I transitioned it into our ensuite. So it is now in self-watering setup. So it's getting the right amount of water that it needs in the chunky mix, with some mud grow down the bottom and then chunky mix up the top. It's in the ensuite under the Soltec grow lights. It's about midway up on the shelves. So it's getting a really nice amount of light. It's getting lots of humidity, and the color really has picked up. It is back to that color that I fell in love with. I think this plant is out of triage. I've cut off all the old, it's looking a bit sparse. I've cut off all the dry old leaves from it that were just really dull and had lots of the black around them. Hopefully it just keeps going the way that it is in its new location, but those colors, it's reminded me of why I fell in love with the plant in the first place. My mum, out of all of my plants, this is the one my mum really wants a propagation of. So maybe, hopefully, if I found its right conditions, I might even be able to propagate some for my mum. So that's another positive story for winter. I've got one more plant on the triage list before I go around and have a look at some planty accessories. This one I would not have expected to be saying to you is in triage at the moment. I am so disappointed. If you've had a chance to watch any of my other videos, you would know that Swiss cheese plants are one of my very favourite plants. It is usually the plant that makes me smile month after month. I got this particular plant from a plant friend. It was like 1 or 2 leaves, so tiny, and I've grown it up to this, and actually I've taken propagations from it, so it was actually even bigger than this. If I'm ever in a nursery centre and I see a Swiss cheese plant, I'm just drawn to them. So being on my rehab list is not ideal, but a few days ago I noticed, let's see if I can show you, it's got some sort of fungal infection going on. Is the camera picking that up? Can you see that my dots in the leaves? I've kept them on to show you, and then after this video I'll cut them off. I'll cut all the infected leaves off. Oh, that one's more obvious, see that? So it's got some sort of yellow spot, some sort of fungal infection on it. I noticed from a distance, it hadn't been looking right for, I reckon, about 2 weeks. Enough that I kept checking, does it need water? Have I got it too close to the grow light? And then finally I was sort of relieved, I guess, when I started seeing the fungus on the leaves, because I thought, well, at least I can see now what's going on for it. So my plant app says that this sort of fungal infection is caused by, now what did it say? So too much light, no, not enough light, too much water, not enough fertilizer. So not enough light, it was actually in our toilet up on the window shelf, getting one of the Soltec grow lights. So it's definitely getting light. And actually the reason I was watching it, I thought, is it too close to the Soltec grow light? I just the other day have moved it into our kitchen window, which gets some beautiful bright filtered light, but it's not as bright as a Soltec light, because I was actually wondering if it was getting a little bit too much light, too close to the Soltec. Water wise, it's in the self-watering setup. Let me just pull it out for you. The roots look healthy. So can you guys see that? The roots are pretty healthy. It's growing and growing. I'm happy with the roots. And as for food, just like all of my other plants, because we're in winter at the moment here in Southeast Queensland, every second or third water, I'm just making sure that I add nutrient water when I fill this up. So I guess where to from here, I'm going to cut the really badly infected leaves off. There's no point keeping those, and you know, if I don't have to use too much spray on them, I prefer not to. So I'll cut, it seems to be these leaves that are the worst infected. I'll cut this whole thing off. I'll treat the plant with some of my We the Wild Protect spray. I'll treat it a few times, obviously keep it separate to the rest of my plants. And then this little bit here that's at the end, I'll whack that in some water and do a water propagation on it. Hopefully this new stem will develop without the fungus on it as well. That's the plan, guys. Fingers crossed. This one is going into triage for the first time since I've had it. Hopefully it will like its place in the kitchen. It's in a macrame hanger, away from other plants. It's getting beautiful morning filtered light. I'll keep an eye on the roots, you know, I'll keep adding that nutrient water to it. Cut off the leaves that are infected by the fungus, give it a good neem oil spray. Do that sort of once a week for the next few weeks, and fingers crossed, but also there'll be that backup propagation just in case. How cute is this pot, by the way, guys? Next up, have I got any other plants? No, this is a good segue into, I've got quite a few new little pots and accessories over the last few weeks that I've been keen to show you guys, and I ended up getting this pot for free. It's got holes all the way around it, so I could actually use some macrame cord to hang it up, but where I've got this hanging, I already had a macrame holder, so I've just got it in the slot, and it's just, I just love the color. I couldn't believe that I got it for free. We went to it was a local clothes swap, so a thrift market for clothes, and one particular seller had these beautiful pots. So because I bought 2 of her other pots, she actually said, do you want this pot for free, because I don't think anyone's going to buy it, with the holes around the top. And I just said, I love, like, would you call it green, the light green color? This will work really well in our house. So really, really grateful. Always looking for cover pots for my self-watering setup. I'll turn you guys into portrait mode and we'll go and have a look around, and I'll show you the new pots that I got with this one, but also there's another section in our dining room that I want to show you as well. My high school friend that I went to the markets with just laughed at me and said, of course you came to a clothes swap and went home with plant pots. So this is the first pot that I got. How cool is this? You guys know I love things that are a little bit different, I guess, and paste pots in particular just fascinate me. Let me just move back a little bit. I've got the ZZ in there for now, and the pot that I've got it sitting in is a little bit tall. So eventually I'll either repot the ZZ into a shorter but wider pot, or I might just put a different plant in there. But how cool is that face pot? It's got holes in the side of it. I can hang it up if I want. The seller was telling me, I got that one, now I think that one was 15, and she was telling me that she got it for 65 from Mappin's, one of my favorite nurseries on the other side of town. So that was 15, but this is actually the one, see here, this face one here, this is actually the one that caught my eye. She is just beautiful, and I got her from $10. The seller got her from the same nursery, also pedestal. You guys can see a theme happening here. Just $10, I couldn't believe it. Such a beautiful pot. I felt so lucky that she didn't have a hole, so that I could just put the water straight in there for my self-watering setup. And of course, as you know, the Fat Boy is one of my favorite plants. My favorite plant in one of my favorite new pots. And then of course this one as well. Wow, love it. Love her so much as well. So watch this space, see what sort of plant I decide to put in it. But for now, I had the ZZ sitting there and I thought that'll be fine for now. And then in our bedroom, this might look quite different to the last time I showed you guys. If you remember, up the top, I had a really big Monstera vine that was growing down. And I'll put some photos up in the B-roll for you, but it fell down. It knocked down that spider plant. So the spider plant used to be there or there, but every time I went to water the Monstera, it would knock down this spider plant on me. And the other day, it knocked down the spider plant again. It was right at the end of the day. It was late at night. I ended up leaving it overnight. I thought, I just can't clean that up again.
So I've just got a filler spider plant up there for now, but after my visit to Bunnings last week, I don't know guys, what do you think? I can really see a variegated ivy up there just draping down the ladder. I think it would be much better than that Monstera and all the tangles, the Christmas light like tangles, and then it was knocking down the plants. It needs something flowing down the ladder, I think, because at the moment it feels slightly empty, and I'm thinking variegated ivy is it. Let me know in the comments if you've got any other suggestions. I'd love to hear your ideas.
Winter. And I have to show you guys, while we were talking, look who's joined us. Raining outside, so he's following me everywhere around the house, and he's just taken the opportunity, haven't you, Dee, to lay on the bed. Very cheeky and very cute. And then over into the buffet in our dining room, you guys might be smiling for anyone who watched my styling video. So if you remember, in the clear pot there was actually, what was it, Propagations of my Ficus Sneaky. And it just looked so bare. I couldn't stand it. It was there for a few weeks and I thought, no, I can't do it. I'm so happy. I've got my greenery back. I've always had this Dracaena happy plant here, but it actually had gotten so big. I'm just moving it for you guys. It had actually gotten so big that, there you go, now you can see it, that I had to put it out on our patio because it was about my chest height and it just didn't fit in that spot anymore. So I've taken a propagation from it, and I'm just so happy to have it back. So see, I've just got it in water with some rocks in the bottom. Dracaenas seem to grow really well for me in water. Super, super happy to have some green back in that corner. If you've seen some of my previous videos, sitting here used to be a bit of it was a sort of a Mexican dog figurine that I had got from one of our local nurseries when it was closing down. So it was a little bit sentimental. And unfortunately, when my son was taking off his school bag a few weeks ago, he knocked it and the whole thing smashed. But what it enabled me to do, and I was hoping that she would arrive before this video, I don't know if you remember my reading lady over on one of the antique shelves in the lounge room, but I found another one. I'm so happy. So I couldn't find another dog, unfortunately, but it did get me to find another reading lady. She just sits in under that Dracaena and is definitely making me smile. My son did feel quite bad because he knew that I loved the dog, but absolutely was not his fault. He's just so tall and he was taking off his school bag and his long arms just hit it. Now we've got a new little reading lady over there and we've got our Dracaena back, which is fantastic. And the other thing that I wanted to show you in here, it's definitely one of my favorites for the month. So this was one of my recent purchases from Bunnings. It was a Syngonium that I didn't even know that I needed. I'm not a massive fan of trellises, as you know, but I did leave this one on the trellis. My dogs are playing behind me. They are having the best time. My dogs are hilarious because it's raining outside at the moment. They're actually playing inside because it's not WALK time yet. And if it's raining, even though they'll go for a WALK in the rain. They won't go outside and get their paws wet in the rain. So they're both just playing inside the house at the moment, and also waiting for the postie that he's not going to come because it's Saturday. I'm always so grateful to have pets in my life. Life is never boring with the dogs around. There we go, she's going to sit. So cute, but so naughty. If it started trailing, it just wouldn't work. So I actually do need it to go upwards. So I have kept it on a trellis. But the really cool thing is, probably from here up is all new leaves since I've had it. And see, there's another little one unfurling there. So it's just making me smile every day. I love the dark colors of it. It seems really happy in the spot that I've put it. Always a bit nervous when you get new plants. You can see it's just in self-watering. Oh, and it's damp, but it's run out of water. Definitely needs the water. Problem because I've got it in a cover pot. I can't see it, but luckily it's one of my favorite plants, so I am checking that really regularly. So really happy with this space and happy to have the Dracaena back. And then for anyone who didn't see my styling video, I just have to show you again because it was so kind. One of my neighbors has a 3D printer and is into printing plant pots at the moment and brought this over for me the other week. And oh my goodness, it is so cute. Also makes me smile. A bit of a reading theme happening on this buffet. So Diesel and I are back in the recording room, ready to show you the rest of my winter favorites, as well as 2 of my additional planty accessories that I've got for this month. These kept popping up in my social media feed. The algorithm for social media is so clever because I love face planters. I had actually ordered these before I'd found the other pots from the recycled clothing market. And so I didn't cancel the order because I've always got room for new little quirky planters. They're a little bit different from the description. So I was really careful because I don't know about you, but I've been caught before. I made sure I looked on the dimensions and it said 13 centimeters. And I thought, fantastic, I can easily fit a slightly smaller than a 13 centimeter pot and I can put my self-watering setup in here. But when they arrived, probably a little bit hard to see, it's not circular, it's actually more oblong. So it is 13 centimeters that way, but it's not 13 centimeters this way. So I can't actually fit a round pot in there. So I thought, oh, I know, I'll fill it up with water and I'll just treat it like a vase. But unfortunately, there was a hole in the bottom. Can you see the black stuff on there? So my husband is a tradie and he said, oh, that's okay. I've got some waterproofing goo. I'll put on the bottom for you. So then you can fill it up with water and you can use it like a vase. And I'm like, perfect, that sounds great. So he's done all that great work and he waterproofed both of them for me. And so I filled it up with water, so excited. And then it was leaking from here and it was leaking from here. There was like water coming out everywhere. The hole that was originally in the bottom was really small and I thought it's not a drainage hole. I drilled through the bottom and I've opened the hole up a little bit more and I've just put my chunky mix in there with some of my spider plants. And I've chosen spider plants because I know how much water and light they need and I know how often to fill these up. And actually, I think they look pretty cool as hair as well. But what happened to the other one when I was doing the same thing? So this one worked beautifully and I actually think keeping my husband's waterproofing there helped keep it together, because with the other one I tried to scrape the waterproofing off and it didn't work so well. And when I was putting the hole in, can you guys see the crack? It actually has cracked all the way through here. Luckily I've got some super glue and just glue this little bit up. She's a lot more leaky. I've actually ended up just putting her on a terracotta pot, but I just think they're absolutely beautiful. I'm really happy. I've got them sitting together in our bathroom. I find them really relaxing. This one here is sort of doing I can't wait to watch the plants grow in these. They're a really nice addition to our bathroom. Now, this plant was going to be my failure, my big failure. And for anyone that's seen some of my previous videos, this plant is really sentimental to me. And I guess it was extra sentimental this week because it was my dad's birthday, who passed last year. And this is the last little bit of his Christmas cactus that's left. Got overwatered while we were on holidays. And when I looked at it the other week, it was dead. It was black. There was just, all I could see was dead leaves in here. So I thought, I'll save it for this video. I've been putting it off, but it's time to compost it and to give up. There was one little bit of green left. It is the very last bit of my dad's Christmas cactus. It has the tiniest little root on it, but there is a root. Look, it's quite thin for a Christmas cactus. It still doesn't look the best, but there is a root there. It's not root rotted. Maybe it was Dad's birthday gift to me. I don't know. but send some good vibes, guys, because it is not completely dead. That was a really nice surprise when I started filming. I don't think anyone would be surprised if I say my philodendron lichens again. It just continues to grow, continues to make me smile. Just super, super easy to look after. I'm loving this little $2 pottery find from the off shop that I found, so I can still be in self-watering. Love looking at the little mushrooms that my friend got me. It just, you know, the dark leaves and the texture on the leaves, definitely a plant that's making me smile in winter. It sits out in our lounge room, so I get to see it every day, and I'm really, really glad that she introduced me to it. And I know that I talk about the philodendron lichens a lot, and it is a pretty basic plant, I guess, for people, but I love it for its color, its texture, and its ease of care. It is just super, super simple. I've got a few propagations of this going, so I'm really looking forward to being able to share it with some of my friends from Plant Club as well. Another favourite for the month is definitely one of my new aglaonemas. I've been really nervous with this plant because the only other aglaonema that I own, definitely in Triage at the moment, it has no leaves left, just a few branches with a bit of root in my chunky mix. So I haven't had a good start with aglaonemas, but this I've had for a few months now, and it just grows and grows. It seems really happy in the location. It's in my self-watering chunky mix. Also needs water, so glad that I checked. I have been a bit slack this week with watering my plants. I'm really lucky that we're in the middle of winter. This plant is actually giving me the confidence to try a few more aglaonemas in my collection, I guess because I only had that one and it came as a tiny little propagation and just has never behaved itself. I was a bit hesitant with the genus, so I've been steering away from it. And so buying this one felt like a bit of a leap of faith, but it's definitely grown since I've had it, even though we've been in winter, and it just continues to push out new leaves. Really super easy to look after. Going really well in the self-watering setup, not necessarily making me smile. This plant's definitely making me go with regards to the genus. So I think it's definitely given me the confidence to try a few more because I love the colors. The variety of aglaonema out there are just amazing, and I like the fact that they grow in a little bit lower light, so they're a little bit less light hungry, I guess, and I don't have to put them in some of the brighter light locations that some of my plants absolutely have to have. You'll definitely be seeing some more aglaonemas pop up in my collection because of this fella. And then last but not least, would it be a favorites video without my very ultimate favorite plant at the moment, my beautiful Kotobuki begonia. You guys knew it was coming. It is just the apple of my eye, as they say. Did I show you guys? I can't remember if I showed you in the styling video. So something really, really cool. When I got this plant first, it was smaller, and so it was down a little bit lower on the shelf. I think I do remember telling you this. It was lower on the shelf in the ensuite, and so it was further away from the grow lights, and so all the leaves were looking like this. And then as it got bigger, it couldn't stay on that shelf because it started hitting the cupboard. I've had to move it up one shelf and above the cupboards. And now look at the difference. It's getting more light. So these are the last 3 leaves. This is just, actually this leaf only unfurled this week. It's still hardening off. It's just beautiful. So the last 3 leaves that it's pushed out since it's been closer to the light, look like that. I love the contrast. Let me see, can I pull it far enough away for you guys to see? What is there not to like about this plant? I found its happy place in our ensuite, the self-watering setup. It just makes it so much easier. Compared to a lot of my plants, it's probably equally as thirsty as my spider plants, which I class as really, really thirsty plants. I'm very grateful that I did try it in the semi-hydro because I think if I didn't have it in self-watering, I wouldn't have been game to water it as much as what it actually needs. And the other thing is, I've been trying some propagation with it because people from Plant Club and my friends and family are continually asking me for propagations. So I've got some in here, they're almost ready. This one I did in water. I was just interested. I did some in water and some in, what's this? This is some spag moss, perlite, and a bit of my chunky mix. So this one was in water and it's kept its color. And this one was just some leaves that I put straight into the spag moss perlite mix. And there's so many little babies in there. So they're not quite ready yet, but I'll be really happy to be able to share this plant with a few of my friends and family and Plant Club in the near future. So that's pretty exciting as well. There were so many more plants that I had lined up to talk to you guys about, but I think editing Mel would have had a heart attack. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was nice having a bit of a rainy day chat. I hope you got to get some of your plant chores done yourself, or maybe just had a bit of a relax and a warm drink while I talk to you about my plants. If you've ever got any ideas on videos you would like me to do, or If any of my plants were your favorites, or if you've got a favorite plant that you're loving at the moment, please pop them down in the comments. I'm a small channel, I read every single one of them and they always make me smile. And until my next video, guys, take care and remember, you've totally got this.